Well, welcome to another edition of Akau TV. I'm joined this afternoon by assistant trainer Sam Burgesson. Sam, how are you getting on today?
Yeah, very good, Hazy. Just trying to battle through this weather, but very good here.
And I guess we're leading into a pretty exciting week next week. How are the horses coming along? I guess especially the 2-year-olds leading into the big dance next Saturday.
Yeah, we're shaping up with a really nice team of runners there. The 2-year-olds are all going well, and a lot of them will actually head to Akau on Monday for a look at the track and a really nice hit out for them. And it's looking like we'll have 3 in the 3-year-old race as well. Wild Knight, Stony Brick, and Dynastic, and they seem to all be going well. They all look well and are going the right way.
And at Tauranga there on Friday, I believe Wild Knight's going to be having a gallop there with Legato.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. Sort of just looking for a trip away from Matamata, just to sort of tie them up in a nice hit out on a different track, get them thinking a bit. So look, it's shaping up to be a great race, that race. And look, it'll be interesting to get a line on them on Friday when they gallop together.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to that. And of course, the barrier draws will be on Wednesday, and that will paint the picture. And I guess the jockeys will choose their mounts from there. So lots to look out for. And I guess next week on Akau TV, we're going to have a pretty special edition there. We might get the tipping maestro, Sam Burgesson, on there, and a couple of other special guests as well. So just quickly, before we get into the runners this week, obviously the team headlined by obviously David Ellis, Karen Fenton Ellis, Marcus Corbin, of course, racing manager Reece Trumper over in the Gold Coast at the moment, looking at yearlings. And they've bought some pretty nice looking types there, Sam, yesterday there. That was day one. Any there that have caught your eye? I'm sure you'll be looking forward to training a couple of these.
Yeah, obviously a really nice bunch that they've bought so far. We've had a lot of success at the sale, Imperatriz, sort of state. And we've actually got 2 runners on Saturday, Rubicon Crossing and Sky and Fire, all came out of that sale. So, a lot of success there, and sort of horses for a range of budgets as well. Just sort of without seeing them myself in person, just off the photos and videos, I really like the Ridden Tycoon, obviously by a champion sire, and the broodmare sire out of a Snitzel mare as well. So, look, we'll look to go early, but has a bit of scope to sort of go on with it later as well.
Absolutely. Well, there's a quick snapshot of some or one there that Sam's looking forward to getting home to Matamata to have a look at and train in the near future. But if you do want to get involved and get in touch with the team over the weekend, the shares will be selling quickly. But obviously, we'd love to accommodate you and have you in the team. So that wraps up a bit on the sale. And then outside of that, just the one winner this week. It was great to see the champion 2-year-old Maven Bell back to the races. She won in fine style there at Koei Park on Sunday.
Yeah, it was obviously super impressive after a long time between runs. She looked really well placed in that race. Obviously a Group 1 winner, giving not a lot of weight to sort of one win or no win horses. And she's bounced out of it well and heads towards the Almanzor Trophy on Cracker Million night. So that'll be really exciting.
Absolutely. Well, let's crack into it. We're going to have a quick look at Tauranga on Friday. Of course, the country's been battered by the cyclone, particularly on the east coast. And I believe we'll probably be expecting a pretty wet track there.
Yeah, I think it's a heavy 10 at the moment. I think they're hopefully meant to get a couple of sort of a fine day tomorrow and maybe Friday, but like it keeps changing, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Well, let's kick off there in race 1, the Proudly Ray White Maiden, Maiden 1400. We've got 2 runners, Patriarcha drawn barrier 9 with Opie Boston on board, and Red She Is drawn barrier 8 with Michael McNabb on board.
Yes, they were sort of both entered today, but we thought maybe Tauranga sort of looks like a little bit weaker, and we could get Opie and McNabb for Tauranga. So we decided to wait, and they look sort of nice each way chances. Patriarcha, she's sort of on her last chance a bit. She's sort of been very disappointing, but found Taupo too firm. But was really good first up at Taupo. So look, if she could recapture that form, she'd be an each way chance. And Red She Is, she's run 2 really nice races and a step up to 1400 suits. So McNabb on helps. Looks nicely paced.
And race 2, the Ray White Mount Monganui 1200. It's a maiden 2-year-old race. Another that ran well on debut there in Valentine for Windsor Park Stud has Opie Boston on board, drawn barrier 6.
Yeah, he was great down in Wellington. Sort of got run off over the chute. Sort of another horse sort of pushed him out wide, but he kept coming. He's trialled really well right-handed as well, so that's a big bonus. He seems to have trained done well since Wellington, and looks sort of well placed in a small field. So like he'll be hard to beat if he cops the ground.
And gee, there's some nice horses from our barn there in race 3. The Ray White Tauranga 1200 rating 75 benchmark, the first of which is Akau. Gets back in his races and can be a bit unlucky. John Barrier 2 with Open Boston on board.
Yeah, you're right. He's sort of a horse that seems to find a bit of trouble. Sort of blew it at the start, but got home really well. And that was his first up run for a long while, so he'll improve with that. Millefiore, she's sort of been freshened since a disappointing run at Te Rapa, but is a very talented mare on her day and has had a jump out since, and sort of gets through wet ground, so that's always a positive. And Pisco Sour, she's been really consistent this season, been there or thereabouts, and looks sort of nicely paced. It doesn't look it's sort of a small but sort of interesting field. So look, they all three are really nice chances.
Absolutely. Race 4 there, the Ray White Greerton 1200, rating 65 benchmark. 3 again, Pure Imagination, Time Flies, and Sicilian Dream.
Yeah, Pure Imagination. He was touch disappointing at Rotorua. On his day, he'd be right in it. Sort of needs to find some form. His track work's been great, so can't fault him. But yeah, does need to improve. Time Flies, he sort of overdid it on Boxing Day, but he's worked the house down since. He's sort of always been like that. It's sort of leaving it at home. So we've sort of tried a few different little tricks with him, but he seems to be going well and looks great. Obion obviously helps, just sort of whether he cops the ground as well. And Sicilian Dream, sort of a bit on the Pure Imagination, sort of a bit like Pure Imagination, sort of needs to find some form, but is sort of a talented mare on her day, but unsure she'd run on very testing track, which probably need to improve.
Cool. Race 6, the Ray White Bayfair in Te Puke 1400, another rating 65 benchmark, and another talented horse in her own right, Felicien, drawn barrier 8 with Opie Boston on board.
Yeah, she was, it sort of only reads as a 7th, but she was really good first up at Rotorua, got back and made a lot of ground on a day where they weren't making much ground. We've always had a sort of a really good opinion of her. She's just had a few setbacks. And her first up, it was a first up run for a while, so she will improve with that, and up to 1400 suits.
And race 7, the Ray White Papamoa 2100, rating 75 benchmark 2, the first of which is the Mighty Spa, gets in pretty well there with the claim with Hakeem Cameroon on drawn barrier 1.
Yeah, obviously a bit plain first up at Meta, but jumps up and trip, which suits him, and doesn't mind heavy ground. So look, he could show some cheek. And
Fierce Flight, drawn barrier 7 there with Opie Boston on board.
Yeah, he's in really good form, this horse. He's bouncing around the stable like he runs the joint since his win at Meta, where he's sort of super impressive. Yeah, he's in great form. Probably just wants the track to improve. That'd be the only worry.
Race 8, the Jeff Smith, the Ray White Greerton 1600, rating 87 handicap, over the mile. Soprano Supreme, in pretty good form, this horse, drawn barrier 6 with Michael McNabb on board.
Yeah, two really nice mares in this race. We're sort of using it as a stepping stone towards the Karaka Cup next Saturday. So it's sort of short of their best, Soprano Supreme and Illicit Miss, but they're going well. It's sort of a small field, so look, they could both show some cheek.
Great, and a few horses there on the back of course, obviously Illicit Miss won well down there at Riccarton Park through the Spring Carnival there, and you've got the Derby winner from last season there in the field as well. So that wraps up the runners for the weekend. And just before we get into our best bet, Sam, I just wanted to pull up a few stats here. So these are your best bets over the course of your time on Te Akau TV, and you've obviously had 10 cracks, just failed once. And if you put $100 on every one of your best bet, this is based on the tote price, you would have returned $880. So you're the man. Can you do it again for us?
Oh, geez, I've taken some pretty short ones there. Oh, look, it's sort of without seeing the odds and knowing what the track's going to do. I'll head down to Wellington and the 2-year-old race. It's sort of hard to split our two 2-year-olds. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them won. But I think the way Sky and Fire has come back from Riccarton, and she galloped at the races on the 3rd, and she was super, and she's just going the right way. Yeah, I'd take her to win.
Great. Well, let's move across to Trentham there, and we are going to kick off there in race 3, the listed IRT Wellesley Stakes. It's for the 2-year-old over set weights conditions, 1100 metres. The first of which is Sky on Fire, drawn barrier 7 with Craig Zacking on board.
Yeah, she's come back really well since Riccarton. She's obviously got experience down a chute. Riccarton and Trentham obviously are sort of similar tracks there. She had an exhibition gallop at Matamata on the 3rd and was super. And she's just a lovely filly. So look, she looks well placed in this and looks a really nice chance.
And number 4 there, Rubicon Crossing, drawn barrier 8 with Craig Grills on board.
Yeah, sort of similar to Sky on Fire. She's come back from Riccarton really well and galloped really well at on the 3rd at Matamata. Look, a real 2-year-old sort of speedy type. And looks another that looks a nice each way chance.
And race 5 there, the Group 3 Dixon and Dunlop Anniversary Handicap, open handicap over the mile. Belle Rouge really flashed home there on New Year's Day in the Ritual Mile. She draws barrier 5 with Dean Yendall on board.
Yeah, massive in the Ritual Mile. Like you said, obviously just keeps missing the kick, which is a bit frustrating, but sort of rattles off great sectionals late. She's a Group 1 winner at the course, 1 from 1 at the course, and sort of gets him well at the conditions. So look, Dean Yendall also knows her well. He rode her in the Ritual, so yeah, looks a really nice race for her.
And Belle of the Ball there, she was really impressive winning fresh up of this campaign, drawn barrier 6. She's not without a chance there with 53 kilos on her back.
Yeah, she's a real up-and-coming mare. We really like her. Sort of hard to believe she won her maiden in September. She's obviously up in grade, but drops to the minimum weight, which helps. And yeah, we really like her. She's a talented mare, going the right way, and McNabb aboard really helps. So, like, another nice chance.
And race 6, the Group 2 Life Direct Wellington Guineas, 3-year-old set weights over 1,400 metres. A really nice field here with obviously the Derby runner-up at Flemington last start and Sharp and Smart of Rodgers there. Of course, we've got a few talented horses in our own right. Cognito first up, drawn barrier 14 with Opie Boston on board.
Yeah, the sticky gate is a bit frustrating, but he's a very talented horse. Hopefully Opie can weave some magic from there. He galloped on the rail here on Tuesday with Levante and was actually really impressive. So Opie aboard and he was stoked. Yeah, it's sort of, the race has come up stronger than we thought, but we've got some really nice chances. If he can get a bit of luck, we think he can definitely be in it.
And Kabugi, drawn barrier 13 with Sam Weatherly on board.
Yeah, he sort of found Counties a bit too firm, but is a very talented horse on his day. He's another with a sticky draw, just needs a bit of luck.
Romancing the Moon, impressive last start winner, drawn barrier 11 with Craig Grills on board.
Yeah, she's a good, tough filly. Has a great racing style as well. Sort of puts herself there and just keeps fighting. Grillsy knows her well. Has won in her a few times now. Another with a sticky draw, but she'll roll forward. And any rain about would help. So look, another nice chance.
And Tavernier there, drawn barrier 1 with Dean Yendall on board.
Yeah, sort of rolling the dice a bit with her, hoping to sneak some black type. But she was actually all right in the eulogy, sort of just blew out the last couple of hundred. So back to the 1400 suits. Good jockey, barrier 1. Yeah, hopefully she can just sneak in that top 4.
And race 7 there, the Group 3 Mode Technology Trentham Stakes, open, set weight and penalties over 2100. Again, the Ritual Mile winner there, Campionessa, she was really impressive that day. Draws barrier 8 with Craig Zacking on board.
Yeah, it was sort of super in the Ritual. We didn't expect her to go that well after the small freshen up, sprinted really well. Gets in well and under the set weights and penalties condition. We know she can get the trip. And yeah, so another that looks really well placed and a nice chance for us.
Well, that wraps up the runners across Tauranga and Trentham for the weekend. And before we do that, I just wanted to get something quickly up on screen. Sam, this is your Te Akau TV tipping stats since the inception of Te Akau TV. So you've tipped 10 times for 9 wins and 1 defeat. If you put $100 on every one of your bets, you would have returned $880. So that's some good going there, mate. Can you back that up and tip us another one this week?
Yeah, obviously there's some pretty short ones in there, but look, I'll take it. Yeah, sort of without knowing sort of the odds and what the tracks are going to do. Sort of Wednesday. What's today? Wednesday Arvo today. I'll head down to Trentham. I think the track will hopefully be all right. And look, it's sort of hard to split these two fillies, Sky and Fire and Rubicon Crossing. I think they're both great chances, and I wouldn't be surprised either one won. But just the way Sky and Fire has come back from Riccarton, I think she's just on an upward path. Her work, the exhibition gallop on the 3rd was just outstanding, and her work this week has been super. So look, Sky and Fire for me, but I would not be surprised if Rubicon Crossing also popped up in there, but Sky and Fire.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for that, Sam. Well, Sky on Fire there in the Wellesley Stakes is the best bet for the weekend. And good luck out there. I hear you're off to the races this afternoon to Matamata. So good luck with the team this afternoon. And we'll catch you again next week, hopefully for a special edition of Te Akau TV leading into Karaka Million weekend. Cheers.
Awesome. Yes, Hazy. Thank you.